Okay, so here's the thing. Before I really get into this episode, I just want to say something real quick. Originally, me, Lunar, Michael, and Quan originally had a plan on recording an episode for a Easter special. I don't think it was going to be anything different. I don't think it was going to be anything different. It could have been. I don't really know. But originally we did plan on recording a few days ago, originally on Thursday. But because I've been completely busy with some family stuff going on and plans going on outside of recordings, I'm not even going to be honest, I have not been able to record anything in the past few days, especially since I've been getting a little, I don't want to say sick, but I've been feeling a little bit unwell, especially with my throat. It's like my throat has been sore like a motherfucker lately. So videos have been completely scheduled up to July something, early July I think, before I got sick and before there were even anything planned. And it's like, honestly, like it's currently Easter Sunday, so it's like I had a handful of videos recorded a week before. So it's like I was ready, I was completely gonna relax, maybe knock a episode or two out for the podcast, but I've been busy with a lot of stuff. So we have not really been able to record. I've been busy with some family stuff, as I mentioned. And honestly, it's like I'm a little, I don't want to say upset, but things completely took a change. So I figured I'd get into one of my recent, maybe not recent, I don't really know. I get into one of my other videos to really give you guys something to enjoy listening to, especially since this was one of my story time with Cody Jones videos. And this was a story I've not shared with y'all. So I figured, you know what, I can really share some podcast listeners into how I am got into gaming. It's like, for those of you who do not watch my YouTube videos, it's like I'm basically giving you guys a video that you have not seen and delivering it onto the podcast for you. So again, I'm sorry that we didn't really get into our regular recordings schedule, and this wasn't the episode that you guys hoped, but I figured I'd give you guys something to enjoy on your Easter Sunday, especially since I'm going to be completely busy today with Easter stuff, WrestleMania, trying to get better as well, and also trying to get my voice back to 100% again. So honestly, I figured I'd give you guys something to enjoy for this Sunday, so this was one of my videos that I'm putting out here for y'all. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Go ahead and follow the podcast if you haven't. And I hope you guys have a good Easter hunt, have a good Easter Sunday. Or if you don't celebrate Easter, then have a good Sunday. And whether or not you do or do not watch WrestleMania, well, whatever y'all doing, whatever you do on your fucking Sundays, I hope you guys have a good Sunday regardless. So other than that, enjoy this episode. I'll see you guys next week in the next episode. Hopefully, we'll get everything back on track. We'll really get the ball rolling again and get back into our regularly scheduled recordings that we had planned. So, other than that, enjoy the video. Let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoy it. Have a good Sunday. And I'm out. Peace. Yo, what's going on, everyone? My name is Cody Jones, and welcome to another story time video, or story time with Cody Jones. I gotta say, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I can't remember the last time I've actually done a story time with Cody Jones video. I'm gonna have to really post right here or right here, one of these directions, when the last time I did a story time with Cody Jones video. Because if I'm being honest, I can't remember. I don't even remember what it was. I remember adding a playlist full of all the storytime videos I did. From times that I've almost died, to worst datings, to job experience as a pet groomer and dog washer, to crashing a car, to, gosh, so many stories really. It's like, sometimes I would often forget what I even talked about anymore, especially with on the podcast, which, by the way, is new episode coming out soon on Sunday. Stay tuned. It's gonna be dope. Promise y'all that much. So honestly, it's like there's a whole lot of stories I share, but this one is very interesting because I don't know if I ever explained what got me into gaming in general. So really, I guess the topic of today's video would be how I got into gaming. Now, honestly, man, before we get into that, I want you guys to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification down below. And also, let's get to 500 subs, because if we get to 500, all this lovely hair will be shaved off and donated. So, 500 subscribers, all this hair goes away. And I'm keeping that deal. Y'all can remind me and everything. But to do that, we gotta reach 500. Come on. Let's get these 500, because we are so very close. Like, really, really close to getting the 500. So, honestly, yeah, that's all I want to say. Just like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification down below. Okay, so, where do we begin? Oh boy. I guess the best place I can really begin would be, oh, jeez, I can't remember the age I was. I was probably 6 or maybe 7. I was 6 or 7 at the time. Juniper Tree Road, somewhere between early 2000s, maybe somewhere in the 2000s to 2005, somewhere in between. I can't really remember all that much. It was smack dab somewhere between those years. Juniper Tree Road, Palmdale, California, mid 2000 to 2005. I was a little boy living with my family, obviously, and I got into gaming because my brothers had a gray Nintendo 64, and I'll have an image right here so you guys can see what it looked like back then with the controller. And let me tell you, the controller for the for the Nintendo 64 was very, very weird. It was very weird and hard to fucking control, if I'm being honest. You know, it's like you fucking got these 2 handles right here on the sides, and 1 handle in the middle with the joystick right there. So it was a bit weird to control it at the time. And it was very old. You know, it was an old console at the time. And it used to belong to my brothers. They had the Nintendo 64 in one of the bedrooms. I can't remember whose bedroom it was. It was plugged into the TV, and I was curious what it was, so my brothers put in, it was either 007 GoldenEye, WrestleMania 2000, or maybe Super Mario 64. I don't know, there was a bunch of like old cassette games, you know, it's like they used to fucking come in little cassette tape kind of games, you know, it's like, again, I have images right on the side so you guys can really picture what they look like, you know. So, they were playing some game on Nintendo 64. It was very interesting to watch them play, and when I started watching them play, they walked off. I picked the controller up out of curiosity, and I started playing it. Whatever game I was playing, I was really enjoying it. It probably was WrestleMania 2000 or Super Mario 64. I started picking up the controller, I started playing with it, and then I took the game out because I wanted to play something else, or they took the game out and they put in Super Mario 64, and they also had Super Smash Brothers, which was another old Nintendo 64 game. You know, it's like you get to battle fucking Mario, Yoshi, Star Fox. You know, it's like, it's a fucking wrestling, it's like a fight game with all kinds of Nintendo characters, you know, so it's like really old school and everything. You know, so they put in Super Mario 64. I started playing it. I started going around the map, and like, I didn't know what I was in for, but the more I fucking moved around and the more I did stuff, pressing buttons, figuring out what did what, especially for such a young age, and I was still really stupid. I started figuring out what did what, how to move, and how the cameras work. Because for Super Mario 64, it fucking allowed you to move the camera around because you had this little Tanuki character following you everywhere with a camera. Fucking watching everything you do and shit, and fucking, man, so many memories, you know. So, I started playing this game, I started having fun, jumping into different pictures, venturing into different worlds, starting to really get into the game, started really having fun playing it, despite the fact I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, you know. So it was very weird, but at the same time, still very enjoyable to really, like, play something. And after that, I stopped playing Super Mario 64. I popped in a different game, because it's not very hard to fucking pop in games here and there, you know. It's like you freaking put the tape out, put another one in, and if the game didn't work, you would freaking blow inside the tape and then put the tape back into the console and start it up again. So, man, it's like, some of you guys would not understand what the fuck it was like playing Super Mario 64 or any Nintendo 64 game. You know, so it's like, a lot of y'all would not understand what it was like. But man, it's like, I started playing other games out of curiosity. I popped in Super Smash Brothers, started to really experiment everything, figure out what did what, and it was very easy to fucking figure out. So I really got into Mario games, and I even had this little handheld Game Boy when I was a kid. Like, it fucking had that. It had Centipede. It had gosh, Super Mario World or some shit like that. It was some fucking like really old Mario game. You know. So it was like it was a platform game or a side scroll. Sorry, that's what I meant. It was a side scroller game before it was even like a fucking open world Mario game. So I started to really get into video gaming for Nintendo. Started to really fucking bring the Game Boy everywhere I went. I couldn't put the fucking controller down for the life of me because I was having so much fun playing Super Mario 64 and Super Smash Bros. Really got into the Nintendo, really got into Mario, really started getting invested. Then I discovered Zelda Ocarina of Time. I discovered 007 GoldenEye. And it's like a lot of these games really fucking opened my eyes to different Nintendo games. And WrestleMania 2000 is like I really fucking got invested in these games because it was all just so exciting and fun and enjoyable in their own way. So, really got into Nintendo. Fast forward some years later, they had a PlayStation 2. They had a PlayStation 1. Well, they had a PlayStation 1 and 2. But I remember seeing them having a PlayStation 2 console, and the first few games I saw them playing was either San Andreas, God of War 2, and The Suffering, which, if you don't know, The Suffering was a horror game where you play some murderer, psycho fucking person who ends up getting tossed into a prison / asylum where everything is completely turned to shit. Everyone is fucking turned into ugly, disgusting monstrosities, and somehow you fucking become one as well, and it's like, it's a whole fucking, a whole gaggle of fucking madness in that game, if I do tell you. You know, it's like, The Suffering, it was the first fucking horror game I really got into. I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what I was watching, but it certainly creeped me out as a kid, so I didn't really feel comfortable playing it, but I did get into San Andreas, I did get into God of War, I got into Spider-Man. I mean, if I'm being honest, I was into Spider-Man way before I got into gaming. Like, I was really invested in God of War because it looked really fun and it looked really violent and enjoyable. It's like you fucking see this fucking like dual blading fucking bald character fucking slashing and swinging his blades around and look like a badass. I mean, I didn't know what I was watching, but at the same time I couldn't keep my eyes off. You know, it's like I was so invested in what was happening. I randomly picked up the controller one day playing San Andreas. Didn't know what I was doing. I was venturing around doing whatever the fuck I wanted. And it was fun. And got into GTA because of that day. And when my brother moved into our place several years later, like, no, I'm going to save that part for another part. We moved out of Palmdale. Me, my mother, and my sister moved to Fresno some years later. This was like after 3rd or 4th grade. Moved to Fresno, and I eventually got my very first PlayStation 2. So many fucking cool games came with it. And it was thanks to my father because I was doing so great in school that he rewarded me with a PlayStation 2 with a handful of games. I fucking had Devil May Cry. I had Spider-Man. I had The Incredible Hulk. I had Pirates of the Caribbean Hat World's End, maybe? Need for Speed. I certainly remember Need for Speed. And I probably already said Devil May Cry. I can't remember what other game I got. I probably did get, I can't remember. But I did eventually get other games, and some years later, we were robbed. So, moved out of Fresno, went back to Palmdale. My brother moved in with us, and I started playing God of War on his PlayStation. Really got into it. I started to learn the buttons, started to learn the story, and then I popped in the second God of War game. Started to learn the buttons, started to learn the story. Got into GTA San Andreas. Then, years later, I played Batman Begins on Xbox. And then Black. And then Wolverine on Xbox 360. God of War 3 came out. Blew my fucking mind away. I still have the fucking comic when it was first announced that God of War 3 was coming out and it was going to be the last one. Still have the comic somewhere in my fucking stuff. You know, it was like one of the most craziest moments that I fucking remembered when I was in, I would say, 7th grade. I was probably in 6th or 7th grade at the time. I think it was 7th grade. 7th grade, God of War 3 was announced. Got a comic for it. It was like a fucking Game Informer magazine. Fucking kept it, held on to it, never let go of that shit. I was fucking obsessed with it. When the demo came out, played it. So fucking fun. It was like the fucking pinnacle of gaming. And it's like, it was a fucking game changer, especially graphic wise, because when I was a kid, Super Mario 64 was pixelated, blocky looking, but revolutionary at the time for me, because it was a big deal at the time, you know. So more years passed, more games came in, everything continuously looks better. Every game continues to either exceed my expectation or drop below. But really, everything gaming based all started with Super Mario 64 on Nintendo. My life in gaming all started because of Mario, because of Super Mario Smash Brothers, because of Spyro, because of the original God of War games. My life got into gaming because the Nintendo. And honestly, if I never picked up that controller at that time, when I was like a little kid, I don't even know if gaming would be a future that I'm doing to this day. You know, it's like, honestly, gaming has been the biggest and most bestest thing to really ever enter my life. I was never really much of a PC gamer, like, because growing up I was not really all that familiar with PC gaming. I was always into console games because I grew up playing nothing but console games. I never played mobile games until many years later, because I used to think mobile games were not really all that fun or enjoyable as a Nintendo game, a PlayStation game, or an Xbox game. You know, especially since I didn't want to fucking play a game that's like on a small little screen when I can just play something on a much bigger screen, a much bigger picture, much better picture. So it's like, I didn't really get into gaming all that much until years later. I didn't get into PC until I started playing some laptop games that my brother had. Really got into PC some years later in my life when I was somewhere in my teen years. But there's no denying that I've always had love and passion for the console gaming. And I fell in love with video games because of Nintendo, because of Mario, because of the PlayStation, because of the Xbox. Personally, I would say that PlayStation will always be like the number one console in the gaming industry, right next to Nintendo. So personally, in my opinion, I would say Like, if there was a tier list, it would be PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox. Not all that crazy for Xbox. There were some games that were a bit but PlayStation and Nintendo always had, like, top tier fucking, like, fucking out of this world gaming, you know? And honestly, it's like for 30 years of Nintendo, of PlayStation, and for some odd years for fucking Nintendo. I can't remember how old Nintendo is, but it's like those two consoles were like the top two in the gaming world. So really, I would absolutely say that Nintendo and Super Mario was a very jump start into gaming for me. And I'll always love video games for as long as I breathe. I will always love Nintendo 64, Super Mario, Smash Bros, 007 GoldenEye, fucking God of War, you know, it's like, my life has always been dedicated to video games, and they will be dedicated to video games. My life has always been about gaming. So, really, there's nothing I couldn't picture myself doing that didn't fucking involve gaming. So, gaming is my life. Gaming is certainly going to be something I will do until the end of my days. And I will honestly say that it's all thanks to Super Mario 64. To the creators of Super Mario 64 and Nintendo, mwah, I love you guys. You guys absolutely shaped me into the gamer that I am because I picked up that controller that day. Because I got into Nintendo that day. My journey began with that game, with that console. And honestly, this will just be another story, though, that I am happy to really share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there are other storytime videos that you want me to do. I would love to fucking get into how I got into horror movies, which will certainly be a very fun topic to really get into. But honestly, let me know what y'all think in the comments. And also, you guys can be sure to enjoy all the other storytime videos. I'll have a playlist right here on the side popping up at the bottom corner. You know, there's like so many stories that you guys can enjoy, you know. But let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.